Today's podcast is brought to you by a company who we have been using for years and takes up significant shelf space inside of our own kitchen. Biosteel Sports Nutrition.
It was a product created out of necessity 8 years ago and is trusted by athletes like Connor McDavid, Tyler Seguin, Brooke Henderson, Rosie MacLennan, and Andrew Wiggins.
They're really a leader in sports drinks for everyone, from professional athletes to everyday champions.
Understand something, guys. Nothing worth ever having in this world comes easy.
Do what these champions doing if you're going to be a champion.
You control your outcome.
Who am I?
I'm a champion.
What up, champions, and welcome back to a brand new Biosteel Breakdown. As always, I'm your host, Adrian, with my co-host,
Sylvie.
And we are the team behind Championship Lifestyle, and we're here to break it down. Every Friday, we do one of these. If it's your first time, welcome. It's a quick segment to get you through the weekend. So when you're playing Trivial Pursuit and a nutrition or training question comes up on Saturday night, you got it.
We got you covered.
Got him. If you're a long-time listener, thank you for being here. And if you don't get that reference, I apologize, but go look it up. Today, what are we talking about?
We are talking about something that I get asked about on the regular. We've talked about it before, but we need to talk about it again. It's plant-based sources of protein.
Plant power.
Yeah, and I've started working with a couple more vegans lately.
Vegans? Vegetarians? Vegans?
Both,
oh,
yeah.
Wow.
And it's a conversation I always have about getting enough protein. So, you know, the sources of protein do not always have to come from meat. And I think it's important to mix in these types of plant-based sources because eating just animal protein all the time can be hard on our digestive system, and it can get pretty boring.
So
too.
even if you were like a regular omnivore, just
exactly,
a regular
you don't have to be
grizzly bear.
vegan or vegetarian, but protein comes from plants too.
All right,
crazy.
So what plants?
So I'm going to start with the complete protein. So meaning that they have all the essential amino acids. And so these are foods that you could eat on their own and get protein. You do have to eat quite a bit of them in order to get the same amount of protein that you would from a animal source. But that being said, they are complete proteins. So my personal favorite to recommend for other people, but not for myself, is quinoa.
Okay.
So quinoa is a grain, but it's actually a seed.
Oh, is it a seed?
Yeah. So it is a complete protein. It has a ton of fiber and getting a lot of other benefits. For me personally, it doesn't work, unfortunately. And some people do have digestive issues with it. So to each their own, but it is a complete protein, and I do recommend it, especially, you know, for athletes and that type of thing, to get more protein in throughout the day to avoid losing muscle mass and that type of thing. It's hard to take in the amount of protein that they need, like I said, from animal sources and supplements and that type of thing. So quinoa is a great option. This next one is a little controversial, but it is a complete protein, and it does provide, a good protein source, especially for vegans and vegetarians, which is soy. So soybeans, again, one of the best sources of protein, and you can get it in several different forms. Tofu, my personal favorite is tempeh, so it's fermented, so you're getting those probiotics as well, which is always a good thing. And then another one.
Sorry, why? Just quickly, why is soy controversial? And we don't have to get into it deeply.
So soy can be an endocrine disruptor. Okay. So it's been widely, I guess, scrutinized against because it's it can, if you're eating a ton of soy, it can cause endocrine disruption, meaning that our endocrine system, our hormonal system, can be affected by the amount of soy that we're taking in. And there's a lot of research on both ends, but it can be controversial for that reason.
And is soy one of those crops that's been heavily modified as well?
Yep, genetically modified as well. So it's like the most common, that and corn, like the most common genetically modified foods. So it's important to, when you are eating it, try to get organic soy as much as possible, because then you're not getting the soy-based form that has been modified, which can cause more digestive upset and endocrine disruption and all of that stuff.
Good to know.
And then the last one is a gluten-free option. The other two are as well, but buckwheat is actually a complete protein. So it's a grain, but even though it has the term wheat in it, it actually isn't a source of gluten. So just to clarify that, buckwheat, it's used in a lot of gluten-free flours, and it can be a good source of plant-based protein. And so again, complete, meaning it has all the amino acids that we need to make up a complete protein. Again, doesn't replace animal sources in terms of like the amount. You do have to mix in different proteins in order to get that variety of amino acids, but it does fall under that category.
I feel like they always buckwheat is always used to make pancakes. I don't know why.
Gluten-free pancakes for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because they're protein pancakes, right?
Yeah, there you go. And then some honorable mentions that aren't complete protein, but are important for, I think, I always recommend to include these for plant-based protein sources. The first one is hemp. Okay. So hemp seeds, typically throwing these in smoothies, and just for a tablespoon, you can get about 3 grams of protein. So it's pretty good. And so hemp seeds are great. And a lot of the plant-based protein powders will have a bit of hemp and pea in them as well. So pea protein is also up there with again, having a good source of plant-based protein. Chia seeds. Chia and hemp are also good sources of omega-3 fatty acids. So that's important to mention that you will be getting a little bit of both benefits as well as fiber. So whenever we can get, like, again, when we eat whole foods, we're getting a lot of different benefits that work together to optimize the health of that food. So hemp, chia, and then last but not least, it's probably the most common source or combination for vegetarians, vegans to get complete protein are combining rice and beans. And in a lot of different cultures, especially like South American and, all over the world, African, combining,
everywhere.
Yeah, combining these two foods is a staple in their diet because it does make up a complete protein. So if you even just get like basmati rice with some black beans or adzuki beans or whatever it is, you will be getting a complete protein out of that.
And there's something so satisfying about rice and beans.
It is.
Right?
It's like comfort food.
It's very much comfort food, for sure. Yeah.
For sure. And a lot of Indian cultures actually will combine like chickpeas and different spices as well as put it over rice. So,
Love it. Awesome. Okay. Plant power. I feel like that may be like a ritual thing.
Plant-powered protein. Probably, yeah.
Plant-powered protein. There you go. If anyone has any questions about it, whether you're vegan, vegetarian, or if you're an omnivore, is that what you call humans?
Omnivore.
Yeah. I didn't know if that was just for grizzly bears. If you're an omnivore and you have questions, please let us know. Sil will be happy to answer them.
Perfect.
That's a wrap, guys. Thank you so much for being here. We'll be here next Friday with a brand new breakdown. Just bringing you the goods.
Thank you.
Take care.